Hey guys, it's Bryn, and I am back this week with some very exciting new things happening in entertainment this fall. It's always right at the beginning of a new season when all the new books and TV shows and music starts coming out, and I just get so excited to consume all of it. So since there are a ton of new books and TV shows coming out and starting up right now about this time, I figured I would just tell you about the things that I'm excited to read and to watch this season. So I just put together a list of 5 new books that have recently come out that I am very excited to read, and 5 TV shows that I'm very excited to watch and add into my TV watching schedule. So I guess let's just jump into all the things. So the first thing I have to talk about that I have literally been waiting for to film this video that I just got in the mail today is this book. And this is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. So this book is about a 16-year-old named Asa who begins to investigate the disappearance of a fugitive billionaire who just happens to be the father of a boy named Davis, who, as I gathered from reading the first couple chapters that were released a while ago, used to be Asa's friend. So Asa, disappearing billionaire, dad of Davis, Asa's old friend. Does that little triangle make sense? And meanwhile, through all this, Asa is dealing with mental health issues, including anxiety and OCD. So from what I gather, a big portion of this book is dedicated to her anxiety, her OCD, and how she deals with that, as a 16-year-old girl. What I love about John Green books is that he writes YA fiction that's fun and a little weird while still being thoughtful and inspiring and emotional and all those fun book things that get lost a lot of times in YA fiction. He's my all-time favorite author, one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube. As I think I've mentioned in the past, his book Paper Towns is one of my favorite books of all time. So it seems like it's going to be part mystery, kind of like Paper Towns was, but also part mental health stuff, which is just so close to my heart. I'm so excited for it. I think I'm gonna like this one, to put it lightly. The next book I have is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, I think is how you pronounce that. So from what I can gather, this book is about the Richardsons, who seem like just this perfect family in a perfect little town, and then the Warrens, who are just a mother and daughter, move in and basically just shake things up. From the synopsis, it seems like they're going to coexist and discover each other's lives and secrets and that sort of thing. It says it explores the weight of secrets, the nature of art and identity, the ferocious pull of motherhood, and the danger of believing that following the rules can avert disaster. It feels like it's going to be a very dark, emotional, maybe even mysterious kind of book, which makes me really excited. I love reading about small towns and family dynamics and the relationships people have with each other under those dynamics. And for some reason when I read the synopsis, it reminds me so much of Winesburg, Ohio, which most of you probably haven't read, so maybe that means nothing to you. But this book has extremely good reviews, and I haven't read anything like it in a very long time. So super excited about this one. Then I have Moxie by Jennifer, I want to say Matthew. This book is about a girl named Vivian Carter who creates a feminist magazine in response to a lot of the sexist things she sees going on in her school. And from there she starts making friends and starting a quote-unquote girl revolution, which sounds pretty great. I've been wanting to pick this book up for a long time because I love the idea of a YA novel that comments on tough topics. Because I think a lot of the time we struggle with these complex issues and we always look at them on such a large scale, and we forget that teens and young adults are dealing with the exact same issues in their own life in ways that we don't always realize or value or consider serious or something like that. So I love when books just hit on those topics and they don't shy away from them and they just hit them head on, straight in your face. It's something that I love in YA fiction and I feel like we need more of. Which reminds me that I still have not read The Hate U Give. I'm terrible and I need more hours in the day. The next book I don't have a physical copy of, but it is called The Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bythel. I bought it as an ebook because I could not find a reasonably priced physical copy anywhere. This book is a nonfiction story about the author who owns a bookshop in Scotland, and from what I can tell, he basically recounts the things he encounters as a bookseller and the types of people he meets in his bookshop and that sort of thing. And on the surface, when I say it's like a nonfiction book, it sounds like it might be boring. But I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be a really fun and interesting thing to read. I love reading nonfiction books every so often, and this one has really good reviews. Apparently it's full of snide commentary, but also thoughtful commentary on the book industry, and I just feel like I'm really going to enjoy that. And lastly, I have The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. This book is about a boy named Prosper who finds he has a demon living inside of him. Not to mention, it seems like this demon wants to hurt or end Prosper's family for something that happened years and years and years ago. And obviously, because Prosper seems like a pretty smart dude, he doesn't want that to happen. So he has to figure out a way to outsmart the demon inside of him and just get it the hell out, I imagine. I actually picked up this book because I loved Alexandra Bracken's book, The Darkest Minds. I wasn't as much of a fan of the series as it went on, but I really loved the first book, so much. I was obsessed with the first book. And this is the first book in a new series, so I feel like it's going to be great just based on pure intuition. I guess you could call it that. Alright, now let's jump into the TV shows that I'm super excited to start watching. First one, oh my god, so obvious, but Riverdale. This show is, I believe, a modern day take on Archie comics. I don't know much about Archie comics, so I can't speak on how much of the show is taken from the comics, but I believe at the very least all of the characters are originally from the comics. So the show follows this cast of characters in the town of Riverdale where shady stuff always happens because of course in every show about a town, shady stuff always has to happen. Not really a spoiler, so don't worry, but season 1 is centered around the disappearance of Jason Blossom and how all the different characters deal with it and how they're tied to it and all the sort of stuff that just comes to fruition as this guy disappears, and it's very interesting stuff, let's just say that. It has very much the feel of a supernatural show without actually being supernatural, so it's kind of really interesting because at any moment a ghost could pop out and I wouldn't really be surprised, even though no ghosts have ever appeared on the show ever. It's just very dark and mysterious while simultaneously being a fun high school based show and everything that comes with that. So sorry about the sliding, by the way, but season 2 starts tomorrow as I'm filming this on October 11th, and it airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the CW. I'm going to try and give you times and channels and stuff for all of these shows. I'm not 100% sure that any of these are right, so check your local times and your local channels. Don't rely on me because I'm just an innocent TV watcher, not an expert, if that wasn't clear. Anyway, I'm so excited for season 2 tomorrow that I'm currently rewatching season 1 on Netflix, and I'm just very excited about it because I haven't been this excited about a new show in a very long time. Actually, okay, I kind of lied because my second show that I wanted to talk about is This Is Us, which is a new show that I just started watching that I am totally on board for, and I really like it. I just binged season 1 on demand, and I have a couple episodes, the first couple of season 2 to catch up on, and then I'm all caught up and I'm ready to roll. I'm sure you've heard 1,000,000,001 people talk about this show, and I don't want to go into too much detail because then immediately you start giving things away. There's just not much you can say about this show without spoiling it, which is why it took me so long to get sold on the show, because no one could tell me what it was about, and I was like, then why do I want to watch it? I don't understand. So instead of explaining the premise of the show, I'm going to explain what sold me on it when I started watching. So for starters, it is a very emotionally driven show, and it's centered around characters whose lives you see like at various points in time. So one of the trademarks of the show, I think, is that it jumps around in time. So you'll see one character from like when they were born to the present day and like everything in between, and it just jumps around with like what seems like no rhyme or reason. It's kind of like a puzzle where you're getting random pieces all over the place and you're trying to piece them all together and understand the big picture when you only have like tiny little pieces. Is the best way I can describe it. So it has like all kind of like the makings of like a mystery where you don't really know how stuff fits together, but at the same time it's not a mystery. Like, it's a drama show. Like, it's just really cool how it's put together, and I've never seen anything quite like it. And there are just so many cliffhangers in the show because when it jumps around, there are obviously things you miss and things you can't piece together, and you're just trying to understand like what changed from here to here. I didn't see it in between, so like I have no idea where the difference is, but I'm trying to figure it out, and it's very exciting. We'll put it that way. So yeah, that's what I really like about it. Everyone told me I would cry every episode, which didn't happen. I actually haven't cried at the show, which I think makes me the weird one. But that doesn't mean it's not like emotional or heart-wrenching. Like, it totally is. I've teared up. I haven't full-on sobbed, but that doesn't mean that you won't. So season 2 started September 26th. So there are a couple episodes you might need to catch up on for this season, but it airs Tuesdays at 9 p.m. on NBC. The next show I've been watching is Project Runway. The show has been on forever. I believe it's currently on season 16. At this point, I'm sure you've heard of it. You've probably already made your decision whether or not this is something you want to watch, but I'm mentioning it because it recently started up again, and I actually enjoy watching this show, but I didn't know it was back for another season until I saw it in the news, so I went back and like watched all the first episodes of season 16, and now I'm like caught up and watching it live. God, this light is awful. I'm so sorry. It was cloudy a minute ago and now the sun's coming out, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm so sorry. It's weird if I just like hold my arm up like this to block the sun. So anyway, I just love the premise of this show in general. I love watching them design and make the clothes. Like, I just find that so interesting. I don't really love like all the personal issues and the drama and whatnot that takes up probably like 50% of the show, but I watch it for the other 50%. It's whatever. And this season is particularly great because it's the first season where they've had models of like all different sizes. So everything from the 2s to the 22s and beyond, in every direction. It's great. It's just something that like is so obvious, and it's sad that it took 16 seasons to get here, but now that it's here, it just makes me want to watch it even more. It's been on for a couple months by now at this point. I believe at this current time it's down to 8 or 9 contestants, but if you have On Demand or Hulu or something, I totally recommend catching up, and it airs on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on Lifetime. My third show is The Good Place, which is also on season 2. This show is about a girl who dies and goes to the good place, and once she gets there, she realizes she was actually meant to go to the bad place, and chaos ensues. This is actually one of the first shows that I started watching right when it aired. I very rarely do that, but I just love the concept of it. I love Kristen Bell, and now it's back for second season, and I only recently heard about it, but I'm very excited about it. Since I only recently found out about season 2, I'm not 100% sure what the premise is, but I imagine it's kind of just like a continuation of season 1. I don't think there's like a whole new premise or anything, and oh my god, son, leave. You are blinding me. Anyway, this is weird, but the show is really funny, and I really like it, and it's not my favorite type of show, but I do enjoy a good, funny, short, sitcom type show every once in a while, and this is one of my favorites that's on right now. Wednesdays, 10 p.m. NBC. Alright, I believe we're now significantly darker, but this is going to have to work. My last show is Timeless, which is currently on its second season. I watched season 1 last year. I absolutely loved it. It's about a group of 3 people who have to travel throughout history to stop this guy from basically like changing big historical events, and in doing so basically changing the present. I'm not a super history loving person. I was never good at it in high school, but I still find the show like incredibly interesting because instead of being stuck in like one historical period, they jump around to like big historical events, and that's cool to me. Like, I find that exciting, and it's just so cool because like when things change in history, they start to change in the present, and it's just interesting to see how everything is like interconnected, and I love stuff like that. So I really enjoyed season 1, and I'm interested to see how season 2 lives up. It's kind of like a complex premise, so I feel like it's really easy for it to just kind of plummet, but hopefully season 2 is really good. I have really high hopes. And season 2 actually started last week on October 3rd, and it airs Tuesdays at 10 p.m. on NBC right after This Is Us, so it's perfect. No excuses. I realized none of the shows I talked about are brand new. They're all in like season 2, or one was season 16. I actually looked through all the new shows that were coming out and I didn't see anything that was interesting to me. Of course, I'm not big on like watching a show right when it comes out. Very rarely does a show interest me like right away. I like to hear what other people think about it first. So if you have any recommendations for shows that are like coming out soon, let us know in the comments. Like, I would love to find new TV shows. And same with books and any other entertainment you're enjoying right now. Let us know so we can enjoy it with you. I hope you're enjoying fall. I hope you have all sorts of fun things that you're watching and reading. And I think that's it. So I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, guys.